Weathering, erosion, and deposition review. What causes our landscape to be different? Well, weathering, erosion, and deposition are the agents that affect our landscapes on Earth. Weathering is when rocks are exposed on Earth's surface. Processes acting on the rock surface break it down into smaller pieces, called sediment. Weathering can be physical or chemical. So weathering is the breaking down of rock or those landforms. Erosion is the weathering of the rock and the movement of the sediment from one place to another. Water, ice, or wind can be agents of erosion that carry those sediments to a new location. Deposition is when the eroded sediment reaches its final destination. It's deposited and often forms a new layer of rock. And water, ice, and wind can deposit those sediments in a new location. So weathering, thinking of the breaking of rock. Plants can break the rock, humans can break the rock, ice, rain, snow can weather down and break rock. There's two types of weathering. Physical weathering changes rock without changing its composition. Plant roots wedging into the rock, water freezing in the rock cracks, and rock collisions all cause rocks to break down. Chemical weathering is a process in which the chemical composition of the rock is changed. Gases dissolved in water, such as weak acids and salt, act on the rock to break them down into new substances. Lichens, a fungus in a symbiotic relationship with algae, can produce acids which chemically break down rock. So weathering is the breaking down of rock and landforms, and we have physical and chemical weathering. Physical doesn't change the composition, where chemical weathering changes the composition of the rock. So physical weathering. So here you can see water can collect in a rock. When water freezes and expands, it forces the rock to crack and widen. Ice thaws, contracts, and water gets deeper into the cracks again. Repeated expansion and contraction causes further cracks till the rock splits. So water too can weather rock, especially when there's a lot of rain. We could have the breaking down of that rock. And here you see a plant, a tree being wedged by its roots into the rock and breaking it. Here the wind has created this unusual formation by just wind blowing around and breaking down the rock. Chemical weathering, that's going to be this one here. We see a little oxidation happening where oxygen is reacting with iron inside the rock and forming rust that's going to break down the rock. A new substance is formed here. And here you can see lichen, which is a symbiotic relationship with that algae. It secretes acid and breaks down the rock. That's chemical weathering. So erosion is going to be the movement of that sediment. Okay, so that sediment, all this sediment, this road, is going to be carried away to a new location. You can see that wind, water, ice can all move sediment to a new place. Deposition is going to be that dropping or the depositing of those sediments. And here you have two beautiful satellite images, which are photos taken from space. You can see that the sediment from the rivers are being deposited here in the ocean, and it's forming a delta. And here you see a beautiful alluvian fan. So that's all sediment being deposited from the river. So in summary, weathering, erosion, and deposition change our landforms on Earth. So weathering, thinking of the breaking of that rock. Erosion is going to be the transportation of those sediments, and deposition is when those sediments are going to be deposited to a new location. And you can see how Earth's surface is changing here. So now you have a test in Schoology. Take the test. You have 2 chances. So if you score low the first time, try again. I hope that was helpful.